All right, guys, today we'll be solving two-step equations with fractions. So yesterday we solved two-step equations with integers, and we'll be following those same rules, making sure that we are trying to isolate the variable and find the value for the variable that will make the equation true. So our first example is x over 2 minus 7 is equal to 9. Remember, the goal is to isolate the variable. So I'm trying to isolate x. Well, I look over here and see what's happening to x. It's being divided by 2, and 7 is being subtracted from it. So I can move this constant by doing the inverse operations. So it's the inverse of subtracting 7 would be to add 7. Now, I'm not going to add 7 to the term x because they're not like terms. But what I can do is add it to the other side of my equation to the other constant. I didn't do anything to x over 2, so that just stands. Negative 7 and positive 7 cancel out, and 9 plus 7 is 16. Now, the goal is to still isolate x. Well, it's being divided by 2. So what is the opposite of dividing by 2? Multiplying by 2. So if I multiply this side of the equation by 2, I also multiply this side of the equation by 2. Remember, cross multiplication. This cancels out, and I'm still left with x is equal to 32. All right, 3 over 5, x plus 22 is equal to 28. The goal is still isolating the variable. So I want to isolate x. So I ask myself, what's happening? It's being multiplied by 3/5 and added to 22. So this 22, I want to be gone because that's the constant. So I can move it first. Remember, constant is the number that stands alone. So the opposite of adding 22 is subtracting 22. And I want to subtract 22 from a like term. So I would do it on the other side of my equation. I didn't do anything to 3/5. 22, positive 22 and a negative 22 are opposites, so they cancel out. And 28 minus 22 is 6. Now, 3/5 fraction. So how do I get rid of a fraction? Back in middle school, we learned to take the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 3/5 is 5/3. If I multiply one side by 5/3, I have to multiply the other side as well. Well, cross multiplying, those cancel. And I'm left with x is equal to, I'm going to put my magic 1 under my fraction. Because remember, it's a whole number, so I can just put 1 up under it. And I can multiply straight across the top and then straight across the bottom and divide. So 6 times 5 is 30. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So x is equal to 10. All right, these down here are a little bit different fraction problems than the ones above. We have x plus 11 all over 8 is equal to a negative 3. So x plus 11 is all over 8. So I can't subtract 11 from here and from here because it's all over 8. That means that fraction. My favorite thing to do is eliminate the fraction. How do I eliminate the fraction? Multiply both sides by the denominator. That way I can cross multiply and it cancels out. So I'm trying to get rid of that fraction. So I multiply the one side by 8. I multiply the other side by 8. I can cross multiply and my 8's cancel out. And I get x plus 11 is equal to a negative 24. Because negative 3 times 8 is a negative 24. Now I got x plus 11 is equal to negative 24. What's happening to x? 11 is being added to it. So I can do the inverse of adding 11 and subtract 11. But I must do it on both sides. Well, I didn't do anything to x, so it's just going to come down. Positive 11 and negative 11 are opposites, so they cancel. And a negative 24 minus 11, remember, all that basically means is negative 24 plus a negative 11, and I get a negative 35. All right, n minus 5 is equal to negative 7 over negative 2. Remember, I'm trying to isolate n. But n minus 5, that entire thing is being divided by a negative 2. So let's get rid of the denominator and multiply both sides by that negative 2. Well, remember, I can cross multiply and my negative 2's cancel out. And I am left with n minus 5 is equal to negative 7 times a negative 2 gives me a positive 14. Now, negative 5 is being subtracted from n, the variable that I'm trying to isolate. So what is the opposite of subtracting 5? It's adding 5. And if I add 5 to one side, I must add 5 to the other side. And I get n is equal to 19.